friends, and welcome to July 7th in our garden. We are in the swing of summer and life is popping up all around us. And this is my favorite time of year. I know I probably say that a lot, but I love watching all of these seeds that we planted come to fruition, and then harvesting a lot of the earth medicine. And that's what I'm doing this morning. We have mullein that's flowering, we have spearmint that's ready to be picked, we have raspberries, we have echinacea and sage and tulsi, and we'll see what else we can find. But one of my joys in this life is harvesting this medicine from the earth and using it then all throughout the year when it's needed. And so I just wanted to take you along with me and show you how I harvest, maybe why I harvest, and the joy maybe you can find in doing so too. So, I'm going to stop saying so. Good morning. Can you hear the little finches? Every morning I come and I pick raspberries. And the longer I pick them, the louder the finches get. These are red raspberries that my farmer had brought over from Sweden. And the best way to harvest them is to come out every morning before the birds and get a little container, and every day I pick some and then it goes into the freezer. I found that if you wait until a lot of them are ripe, the birds just end up eating them, and by picking off the fresh ones daily, it allows all of the energy to go to the other ones to ripen. And so I found that we get a higher yield by doing this. I'll also be coming through and cutting some of the raspberry leaves. I save red raspberry leaf for tea, and the spearmint that's growing in abundance here will be cut back to allow more light to come into these. With this catmint, when it starts to flower, it branches off into a fork. And so what I do to extend the life is I cut the center one off, which always blooms first, I save this for tea, smudges, things like that. And then it allows these other ones, see, I've done this a few weeks ago. It allows this other one to grow stronger. Hi, Penelope. Hi. Hi, sweetheart. You like the cat mint, huh? Thank you. Here. Hey. Out, please. Can you see all the little bugs right above my finger? They're flying in this beautiful pattern. I love sitting out in the garden in the morning light or the evening light. Specifically, you could see things illuminated in a way that you haven't before. In the mornings, I first go into the pit and the kitchen and the vegetable gardens because that's where the sun hits first, and it's been getting about 90 degrees every day and very humid here in New England. And now it's almost 8:30 and I've moved on to the front cottage garden, which is still in shade, and so I will harvest here, and usually by about 10 o'clock. From like 10 to 3 we're doing inside projects in this heat, and then coming back out in the afternoons. But yeah, it's my favorite time. Get up really early, about 5. I'm in the garden by 6, and then I'm out here for a couple hours. It's magical every day. Up here I'll be harvesting these nasturtiums, and then every day I come out and I pick a little more of this feverfew. This is a new herb for me, so stay tuned. We have more nasturtium over here. I'm starting to pick and save the borage flowers. This is just a little, actually a borage from last year. We have much more right there behind the kale. We have like a whole mound of it that I've been picking off of. Hello. This is the tulsi that I will be harvesting here and here. There's also some thyme behind there that I'll start cutting. And then we move into all the sage. This we'll be taking a large cutting from. We'll use these for smudges. And I'll also make a sage oil with them. This is our temporary drying rack that I keep here on our back porch. And what I do is every day I come and I add what I've harvested to it. And then I pick up what's dry because the porch is too hot and too humid to sufficiently dry the herbs. But they're too wet when they come inside from the outside to go in the basement just yet. And so they come out here for a few days to release some of their dampness, and then I move them down to racks in the basement. And so I'm going to take off, I have kale seeds and lupines, which are ready to go in the basement, and now I've created lots of room for all the stuff we just harvested. Goldenrod. So the bees love the goldenrod. So what I do is I only take bunches that have multiple flowers on them, and then every day I just take a few. So I'd like to think we're all sharing. And then nasturtium, I do every day. I really like spearmint and I really like nasturtium. So those are medicinal plants that I harvest daily. And then we have yarrow. I have both pink yarrow and white yarrow, which I save. And then I also save borage. Sorry about my dirty fingers, but borage. It tastes like cucumber, and I also put it into tea. It's really good with spearmint and borage. Mullein flowers. Right now I've been saving these because I'm making a medicinal ear oil for ear aches with garlic and mullein, and you need the flowers for that. So the mullein I actually don't dry. I bring these in the house, I rinse them off, and they go right into an oil that I started about a week ago. The only time I've ever really used the oil is when I've been areas where my airplanes, mountains, high up altitudes where my inner ear equilibrium or the pressure builds up, and a couple drops of the mullein garlic oil actually takes the fuzziness away from me. So it's a beautiful medicine. The catmint, the sage, the thyme, and the tulsi I'll be making smudges with later, but I can't work with them when they're this wet, so I'm letting them dry out just for the day, and then later on tonight I will make them into the smudges. It is a new moon in a few days, and I like to make my smudges based on the new moon and the full moon, just for the cycles of the earth, and it's when the energy and the vibration and the frequency is when I feel is the best to create cleansing herbal medicine. That should do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching just some of my harvesting and morning practices, really. I try to get out in the garden every single morning. And as I always like to say, I hope this inspires and empowers you to get back into nature or to do something that lights your soul up and brings you joy. I love you. Have a beautiful day.